Most trades have a winner and a loser. One team gets the better end of the deal, and the other spends years wondering what could have been. But every once in a while, something rarer happens. Both teams walk away better off. Both franchises get exactly what they needed, and both paths lead somewhere great. These are the 5 best win-win trades in NFL history. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why each one of them changed the league forever. Number 5, Khalil Mack to Chicago, 2018. In 2018, the Oakland Raiders had a problem. Khalil Mack, arguably the best defensive player in football, was holding out and demanding a contract that the Raiders front office simply wasn't willing to give him. He was the 2016 Defensive Player of the Year, a 2-time first-team All-Pro, a player so disruptive that opposing offenses had to build entire game plans around slowing him down. And John Gruden's Raiders were done trying to pay him. The Chicago Bears came calling. In one of the most aggressive defensive acquisitions in league history, Chicago sent 2 first-round picks, their 2019 and 2020 selections, plus a 3rd-rounder and a 6th-rounder to Oakland. In return, they got Mack, who immediately signed a 6-year, $141 million extension, becoming the highest-paid defensive player in NFL history at that point. The impact was instant. In year 1 with the Bears, Mack posted 12.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, and 18 quarterback hits. He was the engine of a defense that led the league in scoring defense, helped Chicago win the NFC North at 12-4, and sent the city into playoff football for the first time in years. Over 4 seasons, he made 3 Pro Bowls, earned first-team All-Pro honors, and finished with 36 sacks as a Bear before being flipped to the Chargers, where the Bears netted yet another 2nd-round pick. Now the Raiders side. With 2 premium first-rounders heading their way, Las Vegas used the 2019 pick to draft Josh Jacobs, who promptly rushed for 1,150 yards and 7 touchdowns as a rookie, finishing first among all first-year backs. The 2020 pick became corner Damon Arnett, which didn't hit, but the 2020 3rd-round pick turned into Bryan Edwards, and the 2020 2nd-round pick the Bears received back from Oakland became tight end Cole Kmet, one of the more underrated value plays of the whole deal. Yes, neither team won a playoff game because of this trade. Yes, the Raiders' returns were inconsistent, but the Bears got years of elite pass rushing and a 12-win season. The Raiders recouped premium capital in a desperate moment and accelerated their rebuild. One team got the star, one team got the infrastructure, both got value. Number 4, Brett Favre to Green Bay, 1992. Before we get to the top 3, let's rewind to one of the most quietly consequential trades ever made. A deal that most people forget was a trade at all. The year is 1992. The Atlanta Falcons had used a 2nd-round pick on a quarterback out of southern Mississippi named Brett Favre the year before. Their head coach, Jerry Glanville, openly despised the pick from the moment it was made. Favre spent his entire rookie season on the bench. He threw 4 passes, completed 0, threw 2 interceptions, and by the spring, Atlanta was moving on. Green Bay Packers GM Ron Wolf had wanted Favre since the 1991 draft and missed out. He wasn't missing out again. Green Bay sent the 17th overall pick in the 1992 draft to Atlanta in exchange for Favre. The Falcons used it to draft running back Tony Smith, who played 3 seasons and gained a total of 329 rushing yards before vanishing from the league. The Packers got something else entirely. 3 games into the 1992 season, starter Don Majkowski went down with an ankle injury. Favre took over and never gave the job back, not for 16 years. He made 297 consecutive starts, the most of any offensive or defensive player in NFL history. He threw 442 touchdown passes as a Packer and won 160 games. He took Green Bay to back-to-back Super Bowls, winning Super Bowl 31. He won 3 consecutive NFL MVP awards from 1995 to 1997, the only quarterback ever to do that. He is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, was this fully a win-win? Atlanta got a first-round pick for a second-round player who hadn't thrown a single completion, On paper, that's asset appreciation. They couldn't have known what they were giving away. The pick had real value in a loaded 1992 draft class, and the front office genuinely believed Chris Miller was their quarterback of the future. The math, in the moment, made sense. What makes it a win-win is context. Atlanta sent away a player who didn't fit, had no pathway to starting, and was costing them locker room harmony, and got a first-round pick in return. That they misjudged Favre's ceiling doesn't erase the logic of the move at the time. They won the transaction. Green Bay just won history. Number 3. Marshall Faulk to the Rams, 1999. If you want to understand the 1999 St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf, you have to start here. Because this was the trade that flipped the switch. The Indianapolis Colts had drafted Marshall Faulk, second overall in 1994. He was their superstar. In 1998 alone, he led the NFL in scrimmage yards with 2,227, rushing for over 1,300 yards and catching 86 passes. He was entering his prime. He was also entering a contract dispute. And the Colts, who had just gone 3-13 in Peyton Manning's rocky rookie year, had a decision to make. The Rams called. They offered a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick, and the Colts said yes. At first glance, that looks like highway robbery against Indianapolis. But here's what that trade actually gave them. The Colts used their first-round pick, freed from the shadow of Faulk, to draft Edgerrin James fourth overall. James went on to rush for over 1,500 yards as a rookie, win Offensive Player of the Year, and form the backfield that unlocked Peyton Manning's full potential. Indianapolis made the playoffs in 11 of the next 12 seasons. They went to 3 AFC championship games. They won Super Bowl 41. Manning became the greatest regular season quarterback who ever lived. And the Rams, they handed Faulk the ball and watched history happen. In his first season in St. Louis, Faulk rushed for over 1,381 yards, added more than 1,000 receiving yards, becoming just the second player ever to hit 1,000 in both categories in a single season, and helped the Rams go from worst to first, finishing 13-3 before winning Super Bowl 34. He then won 3 consecutive AP Offensive Player of the Year awards, 3 in a row. He was the 2000 NFL MVP. He's in the Hall of Fame. 2 teams, 1 simple deal. Both built dynasties. The Rams became the most explosive offense in league history. The Colts became the most consistent franchise of the 2000s. This is what a real win-win looks like. Not a marginal gain on both sides, 2 completely different kinds of greatness, born from the same transaction. Number 2, Eli Manning and Philip Rivers, 2004. The 2004 NFL Draft hadn't even started yet, and it was already one of the most dramatic in history. The San Diego Chargers held the first overall pick. Eli Manning was the consensus top prospect in the country. But Eli and his father, Archie, had made their position crystal clear. Eli would not play in San Diego. He wanted out before he even got in. The Chargers didn't care. They drafted him anyway. Then, 3 picks later, the New York Giants selected Philip Rivers with the 4th pick. And within an hour of those 2 picks being made, one of the most important trades in NFL history was finalized. The Giants sent Rivers, a 3rd-round pick, and 1st-round picks in 2004 and 2005 to San Diego. In return, New York got Eli Manning. Philip Rivers became the greatest quarterback in Chargers franchise history. Over 16 seasons in San Diego and Los Angeles, he started 252 consecutive games, never missing a start, including a 2007 AFC Championship game he played through on a torn ACL. He threw for 63,440 yards as a Charger, broke every major franchise passing record, led the team to 6 playoff appearances, and was one of the most efficient passers of his generation. He played his entire prime career in one system, for one team, and earned every bit of his legacy there. Eli Manning did something Rivers never quite managed. He won championships, 2 of them, both against the New England Patriots. The first came in Super Bowl 42, when Eli led the Giants on an iconic game-winning drive against an undefeated New England team that had barely lost all season. He was named Super Bowl MVP. 4 years later in Super Bowl 46, he did it again. Another comeback, another title, another MVP. In New York, he became a legend. 2 quarterbacks, 2 teams, 2 completely different careers. And both sides got exactly what they came for. San Diego got their franchise quarterback for a generation. New York got their 2 rings. No one lost this trade. That almost never happens at the quarterback position. This one might be the purest expression of a win-win in league history. 2 all-time great quarterbacks, both in the right place, both succeeding on their own terms. Number 1, Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, 2021. And here we are, the best win-win trade in NFL history, not just because of what happened next, but because of what it meant for 2 franchises going in completely opposite directions. The Los Angeles Rams were out of time. They had traded away 5 first-round picks in 4 years. They had one of the oldest, most expensive rosters in football. Aaron Donald was still the best defensive player alive. Cooper Kupp was a weapon without a trigger man worthy of him, and Jared Goff, despite reaching a Super Bowl, had become the team's ceiling instead of its accelerant. The Rams looked at their clock and knew it was now or never. Meanwhile, Detroit had finished 2020 allowing 519 points, 3rd most in NFL history at the time. They'd had 3 last-place finishes in 4 years. They'd cycled through front offices, coaching staffs, and excuses. But there was one thing nobody could question. Matthew Stafford, absorbing over 40 sacks a year behind a broken offensive line, was still one of the best quarterbacks in football. He just needed a system that could use him. In February 2021, the trade happened. The Lions sent Stafford to Los Angeles. The Rams sent Goff, a 2021 third-round pick, and first-round picks in 2022 and 2023 back to Detroit. The Rams' side is the easiest story to tell. Stafford threw 9 touchdowns in his first 3 games. He finished the regular season with 4,886 passing yards, most in franchise history. He led Cooper Kupp to the receiving Triple Crown. And then in February 2022, in one of the most dramatic Super Bowls ever played, he drove the Rams down the field with the game on the line against the Cincinnati Bengals and delivered a championship. Super Bowl 56. The trade paid for itself in year 1. Detroit's story is quieter, but just as significant. With the 2022 first-round pick, the Lions selected Aiden Hutchinson 2nd overall. Hutchinson became the defensive focal point of the rebuild, posting 9.5 sacks as a rookie. They packaged the other Rams pick to move up for Jameson Williams. Then came Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and the methodical construction of what is now one of the most complete rosters in football. Jared Goff, written off by almost everyone, posted a 100.0 passer rating in 2022 and has been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league ever since. By 2023, Detroit had 12 wins, a division title, and their first playoff victory in 32 years. By 2024, they had 15 wins, the most in franchise history, the top seed in the NFC, and a roster with legitimate Super Bowl expectations. That 2021 trade is in the DNA of every single player on that roster. The Rams maximized the present. The Lions invested in the future. Same trade, different timelines, both completely justified. And that's what makes it number 1. Not just that both teams won, but that both teams needed to win in completely different ways, and the trade delivered exactly that for each of them. 5 trades, 10 franchises. And in every single case, a deal that looked like it had a clear loser on one side ended up proving the doubters wrong. That's the thing about win-win trades. They don't happen by accident. They happen when both front offices understand exactly what they need and find the one deal that gives it to them. No wasted capital, no mismatched timelines, just 2 teams solving their problems at the same time. If you want more content like this, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started.